Today I'm going to show you guys how to utilize and use this thermostat when we have it set up on cooling mode for homes with fan coils, cassettes, ducted systems that are connected to our underfloor heating systems. This thermostat isn't for if you want to put cooling through your floor. We do not recommend doing that, as you can get condensation under your carpet. However, this is just to show you guys how to use it if you have a ducted system connected to your underfloor heating system and or a cooling blower or cassette unit. So to use this on cooling mode, currently we're in heating mode, coming to summer for say, and we want to turn it into cooling. So what we do is we can click on the system button here and change it from heat to cool. Then we click done and it will run on cooling mode. We can set a program on this for cooling just as we would with a heating schedule, by going into the menu, create edit schedule. I'll do it myself, say all the days, next. So you can set up a cooling time from the morning all the way through the day by clicking on say the wake up period. So for say we want it to start cooling at 9 o'clock when it's getting hot in the middle of summer, and we want to cool it once we get to 22 degrees because it's too hot. And we click done.
So do you normally have a 2-degree differential between heating and cooling?
Not at the moment. So this is when we're running it selectively on cooling mode. So this will only run when it is above 22 degrees, it'll cool, but it will not kick into heating mode. I will show you in a minute how to set up an automatic program. So this is just setting one temperature. When it gets over that temperature, it'll cool down to hold it back at that temperature again. So we're going to say from 9 o'clock onwards, we'll hold it whenever it gets over 22 degrees, the cooling kicks in. 10 o'clock onwards, cooling from 22 degrees. 3 o'clock, cooling at 22 degrees again. Done. And 10 PM at night, we'll keep it. We'll turn it also down to 22 degrees. So we're just going to set up to run at 22 degrees 24 hours a day, whenever it gets hotter than that. So by setting a schedule like that, you can adjust the temperatures to your preferences, but it will come on and off whenever it gets to those set points.
So they've got it on their heating system and they just want to manually switch it over now to the cooling unit. Can you set it up on heating and just show them how they turn it straight to cooling there?
So we'll go back to heating now. So when you're in heating mode, which we are currently in right now, as you can see the heating lights come on, what you then do is click on the system button and select cool, and whenever you select that button and press done, it'll be trying to keep the building underneath 22 degrees.
Okay.
So if you were for say wanting to set up an automated program, so in those awkward months between in spring or whatever where it could be cold but it could also be hot, to set up a program like that, what you need to do is click on the menu button and then scroll down here to preferences, and then scroll down to advanced preferences, and then click next. So we want to select heating cooling system changeover. We want to make it automated so that it can flick on and off without us having to worry about adjustment
between heating and cooling.
Yes. We'll click done. Do you wish to say change to yes? So now what we have set up is a program, back to the previous menu, so we've set up a program where if the temperature drops for say below 20 degrees, it'll heat up. We can create a dead man zone, so say we like the temperature between 20 degrees and 23 degrees. If it gets below 20 degrees, it's going to turn on the heating. Between 20 and 23 degrees, it's not going to do anything. And then if it gets hotter than 23 degrees, it's then going to run cooling mode. So I'll show you how that works now. So when we go back into our menu, create edit schedule, I'll do it myself. We'll go
just every day, all
days, next. So now we can say, in the morning, we'll bring it on a bit earlier, just in case it's cold on a spring morning. So we'll say we'll heat it up to 20 degrees, but if it gets hotter than 23 degrees now, it's going to cool down.
Will that do that for the whole 24 hours or just...
We set individual time periods for that. So then again, at 10 PM during the day, typically people turn their heating down. we're going to leave it like that. So we don't want it to heat unless it gets over 18 degrees inside, but we want it to cool down if it gets over 22 degrees inside.
So you're going to make it heat up to 18 degrees?
Yes, yes. If there is a temperature loss for whatever reason, it will heat, but if it gets over 22 degrees, it will cool. And then again...
So when it cools, will it cool down to 22 degrees and stop?
Yes,
Right.
yeah,
It
it will.
won't go down to 18.
And then at 3 o'clock again, we'll just leave this at, say, 21 degrees, and we'll let it cool at, say, 24, just to make sure that in the evening
So normally you'd leave about at least a 2 to 3 degree differential,
Yes.
so the thing's not hunting back and forward between heating and cooling all the time.
Yes, that's correct. Done again, and then 10 p.m. at night, we're only going to let it heat to, say, 18 degrees overnight. If it drops below 18, it'll heat, but it's going to come on cooling, say, if it gets over 21 degrees. And we'll click done, and done. Yes. So now we'll be able to see when we go back to our menu. Home. So now we'll click on System, click on Automatic, done, and now we can see currently the room is 22 degrees. If it drops below 21 degrees in here, it'll turn on the heating, but if it gets over 23 degrees, it'll turn on the cooling to try and keep us in that optimum comfort level.
Will this change?
This status mode down the bottom here, this will show us what our heat pump is currently doing. So currently it's saying it's on auto mode, but because the status isn't saying heating or cooling, because we're at 22 degrees between 21 and 23, that means we're in neutral territory and it's not going to do anything until it goes one extreme or the other.
Can you change it now so the status mode will change?
Yes, you can. So what we'll do is we'll drop our heating temperature down, so we'll bring it down to 18, and we'll bring down our cooling temperature to 21.
So this isn't altering the whole program, this is just doing for now?
Yeah, this is just a temporary display.
Okay.
So
and will it revert back to automatic?
So now we can see cooling's on because it's 22 degrees inside and it's above our 21 or 18. Also a bit of knowledge too, if you're not wanting to set a schedule for these times of time of the year, when you adjust these temperatures here, you can put on a permanent hold by clicking this button here, and then what that's going to do is it's going to make sure that 24 hours a day, if your house gets over 21 degrees, it'll cool, but if it drops below 18 degrees, it'll heat, in order to keep your house at the optimum temperature.
Okay, and so how does this work in conjunction with the slab stat?
If it's in heating mode, the slab stat and the air stat will work together, but the second that this thermostat says it's too hot and it wants to cool down, it will lock out the slab stat
And start cooling the house?
and start cooling down the house and turn on your blowers or cassette.
Or ducted system?
Yes.
Okay, thanks Craig, we'll have a go.